In early 2023, ChatGPT, in partnership with Microsoft, threw a massive wrench in Google's highly lucrative search revenue model. With plugin integrations such as WebPilot, ChatGPT users could search without having to worry about any blue links or seeing any ads, which somehow always managed to float their way to the top. This radical innovation began to generate buzz about how Google search may become irrelevant as these new technologies removed all the friction of scrolling through links, clicking on one, going back, clicking on another one, etc. It all started to feel very 2009, you know? And then Perplexity comes into the scene, marketed as a research tool that's specialized in search, using the latest AI language models. The clock was ticking for Google, and at this point, the only thing sustaining Google's business model centered around ads was the simple fact that these new AI tools had not yet reached mainstream adoption and were mainly used by tech bros trying to live out Tim Ferriss's book, The 4-Hour Workweek. Now, a year later, Google is letting the world know the sheriff's back in town, unveiling really groundbreaking features in their upcoming Pixel phone, putting their AI technology front and center of the Android mobile experience. I'm going to talk about some of these new state-of-the-art features and then provide my analysis as to whether I think this will be enough to put Apple's market leadership in smartphones at risk, an area they've dominated for almost 2 decades now. Okay, the first thing to know is that at least for the Pixel phones, these will be the first mobile phones that have AI models built right into the hardware. So they'll continue to leverage Google's cloud servers and data centers, but if you happen to be in the wilderness in Montana with no signal or Wi-Fi, you can still generate prompts on your device. This, in my opinion, is the coolest thing. It's called on-device AI processing, which has actually been in development since at least 2019, when they published a paper on how they were developing the new architecture, the constraints around it, and the challenges around building this extremely resource-intensive task inside your phone without draining your battery. Now, getting into the UI side of things. A key innovation from Android's OS is Circle and Search. So easy, so intuitive, your cat could do it. I mean, if you would have showed this to someone just 20 years ago, they'd probably call the FBI on you. Basically, you're watching a video on social media and you really like this lady's pink shoes. You circle it and the AI will recognize the shoe, the brand, the color, and immediately surface links where you can purchase that shoe. If that's not user experience, I don't know what is. One thing worth noting though is that it appears that the default behavior with this feature is it assumes you're looking to shop. While this is of course a strong use case, I hope they give you the option to configure that in your settings so you can circle something and just get information about it, not necessarily links for shopping. A big challenge that the team had to solve was figuring out how to make the Gemini AI model easily accessible, but never in the way. I think they've achieved an elegant solution in this department. You simply swipe from the bottom corner of your screen, and there she is. The great thing is that it recognizes what you're doing on your screen and can provide a helpful recommendation that you can tap on. For example, if you're watching a YouTube video, it will give you the recommendation to ask this video. It incorporates that video into the prompt window. You ask your question, it references the YouTube video, and in seconds, it outputs its response. For the Gemini Advanced users, it has a larger context window and can perform more advanced cognitive tasks. Like say someone gives you an 87-page PDF with instructions on how to play pickleball. You summon Gemini AI and you ask it to summarize the key points from the PDF. In the same amount of time it takes you to sip your coffee, it will have your summary ready. Lastly, there's the accessibility feature, TalkBack, which gives people who are blind or visually impaired the ability to, for example, click on an image and have the AI model describe in perfect detail what they're looking at. Then there's the concept of multimodality. Basically, as an Android user, you can prompt the Gemini model by typing on your keyboard using your voice or using your camera, also known as vision. In response, you can specify the type of output: sound, audio, generate an image, or just generate text. This is moving in parallel with OpenAI's ChatGPT model and a lot of other competitors. All in all, Google is essentially making their Gemini AI model an integral component of the Android experience and putting their most capable models into their Pixel phones. You don't need to switch to a different app or log in anywhere. It's just there at your fingertips. This puts ChatGPT at a potential disadvantage because they deliver intelligence as a service through their app. So going forward, they will really need to be strategic about how they differentiate their product and make it compelling enough where users will still want to download the app on their phone. Now, don't get me wrong, Google is really giving Apple a run for their money by introducing these next generation smartphones. If you're an investor with Google or Apple, this is really a pivotal moment. So let's think it through. To Google's credit, they have the entire world's data, and that's their biggest competitive advantage in terms of training their Gemini AI model. They have all the resources to invest in compute, chip design, infrastructure, and all of that is going to trickle down into their Android smartphones. Secondly, they've managed to integrate this cutting-edge technology with a well-executed user experience. Remember, the challenge was, how do you make it ubiquitous but never in the way at the same time? They've delivered. And lastly, they've made the executive decision to make Google Search an AI-first experience. This is a double-stack value add for consumers. They are getting a phone with a built-in AI assistant at the operating system level and AI search that is tightly integrated across the phone's apps and services. And of course, they are first to market. Apple, on the other hand, is fashionably late but not empty-handed. According to the earnings call last quarter, Tim Cook hinted at rolling out some major AI updates later in the year. Presumably, we can expect intelligent Siri to be right around the corner. At this point, if you're convinced that Google's new Pixel phone and their AI-enabled Android systems will outshine the iPhone, allow me to offer a contrarian viewpoint. If you paid any attention in your microeconomics class, you know that a lot of times consumers like you and me don't make rational decisions, and instead it is emotions that drive a lot of our choices. The biggest leverage that Apple has, aside from having all the money in the world, is their brand value. And when a company successfully builds on that brand value by continuing to deliver on customer experience across all their products and services year after year, they create customers that stick around not from a place of rational analysis, but instead from an emotional place of deep trust. Apple has that. They've delivered incremental innovation since the first iPhone in 2007, carefully and slowly perfecting the product, but also the experience built around that product. And that consistency and focus has solidified the iPhone as an essential must-have in the eyes of their customers. People that buy iPhones have been buying iPhone for years now, and Apple has been very strategic about using the iPhone as their gateway product to invite people into their ecosystem. Which brings me to my second point, the concept known as ecosystem lock-in, which is the idea that a company strategically architects a holistic, end-to-end portfolio of products and services that offer so much value and convenience for their customers, it makes it very difficult to leave. This is almost the reverse of what most companies do, which is push. They push the products, push the advertising, push you with incentives and promotions, whereas this type of strategy is a pull mechanism. You are pulling the customer in, not by bribing them with something, but by offering such a high standard of service that going somewhere else becomes painful. That's exactly what Apple does, and for most people, it starts with the iPhone. But as soon as you start to buy their other products, or you subscribe to, for example, their iCloud, Apple makes sure they create a resort-like experience, so even if you think about leaving, you'll immediately regret it. All their products connect and synchronize perfectly with each other in a way only art and science coming together could deliver. The Apple experience is something beyond the physical product. It's really in the realm of the abstract. Lastly, customer support and customer service. This is very much an element of the user experience if we're thinking at a more global level. Apple is one of the few tech companies where you can still talk to a human being if you have any kind of issue with your phone, laptop, or even a subscription. Have you ever tried contacting Google when you need help? They send you to a forum.
Let me push back, right? There's an important differentiation, right? There's a reason.
Good luck. And customer support is not just over the phone. It's at the store level, their Genius bar, being able to make appointments. It's information on their website. Customer support comes in all shapes and sizes and lives across multiple touch points. Apple has invested in building many different layers of support made available for their users, and this is the real differentiator that comes with purchasing an iPhone or any Apple product. They are in the business of selling peace of mind, a rare commodity in high demand. All in all, these two companies are doing amazing work, and Google is helping set the bar higher for what we think of and expect when we interact with our smartphones. I believe Google is well positioned to not only remain relevant, but also reinvent and redefine mobile computing well into the future. But considering Apple's deeply established brand value, best-in-class user experience, and a well-integrated, holistic ecosystem of products and services, I think CEO Tim Cook will sleep just fine at night. Thanks for watching. Stay curious.